The Prime Minister is expected to announce her new ministry as early as today. For more, Latika Burke joins us now from Canberra. Latika, good morning. The speculation centres on just how extensive this reshuffle will be.
Good morning, Michael. Yes, Julia Gillard certainly has an opportunity today or whenever she chooses to reshuffle her ministry and cabinet to go about the reshuffle she would have liked to have done last year. Now, we remember that she tried to demote Robert McClelland and Kim Carr, but Robert McClelland ended up staying on in cabinet as a housing and disaster minister. Now, he was demoted from the position of Attorney General, which went to Nicola Roxton, who turned out to be one of Julia Gillard's most staunch and fiercest allies during the recent leadership spill against Kevin Rudd. Now, there is expected to be some sort of retribution over that. Robert McClelland, for example, is one minister, a minister sitting in her cabinet, who said that Julia Gillard could not win the next election. So you would expect that there would be some kind of retribution for some of the fallout from the leadership challenge earlier in the week. Now, whether or not that extends to people like Kim Carr remains to be seen. Chris Bowen is an interesting one to watch. He's regarded as a very talented minister with a big future in the Parliamentary Labor Party, but he did come out and support Kevin Rudd. So it will be interesting to see if he keeps his position as Immigration Minister, which, you know, might be trouble enough for him, or if he's indeed moved on or demoted or even promoted as some kind of peace offering to the Rudd camp.
Now, Stephen Smith is widely expected to move back into the Foreign Affairs portfolio, but of course that creates another vacancy in defence. It's a portfolio that's seen quite a lot of change in recent years, hasn't it, Latika?
Yes, that's a very difficult one for any minister. You might remember Joel Fitzgibbon became the first Rudd government minister to resign over what ended up to be a series of incidents. Now, he's subsequently seems to have won or is winning a court battle against some articles published against him in the Fairfax Press, which could go to some way exonerating him. And he's also held a fairly senior position in the Gillard government as Chief Whip, and he's certainly well liked by his colleagues. So it could be that he might be promoted back into cabinet. Now, whether or not he takes up his old position in defence, given that many feel some in defence were out to get him because of the review that he was commissioning into driving savings in the Defence Department, we'll have to wait and see that too. But certainly Stephen Smith did take one for the team when he moved along into defence and vacated the Foreign Ministry for Kevin Rudd after he was deposed as the Prime Minister.
And finally, Latika, as all this is going on, the federal government is also tipped today to release its media regulation inquiry.
Yes, that's right. Look, there's a series of reviews coming out into the media and how it's regulated and how it happens in Australia and how people consume it and the laws that govern that. Now, one of them is a classification review that came out yesterday, and it's really interesting, Michael. It's said that in this environment of so much user-generated content, you and I, for example, we could make our own YouTube video. Now, what role should the federal government, via the classification board, be stepping in to regulate that? Well, the classification review has recommended that classification should now apply to all content regardless of their platform. So whether it's a computer game being distributed online or being sold in a computer store down at the store, the same classification benchmarks would apply. But interestingly, Michael, what it has found is that there is so much content that the classification board would have no time to review and classify it all. So what it recommends for things like YouTube is that that website already self-regulates by taking down objectionable content that's complained about by users. So it recommends continuing that type of approach and only classifying things like TV shows and films and computer games that are made for mass consumption.
Latika Burke in Canberra, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.